It's the international break, but it's not a break for Fabrizio Romano or Qué Golazo. He is here joining me to discuss so much, including the permutations of El Clásico, as so many more players are arriving and the strength of Barcelona continues. What about Erling Haaland? That clock is ticking. Are we going to find out exactly where the Norwegian is going? We will also discuss Man City, Lewandowski, Paulo Dybala, who is surely looking for a new club right now. Final thoughts and everything else with Fabrizio Romano. Qué Golazo, and it all begins right now. Hey, everybody, welcome to Qué Golazo. Thank you so much for being part of the family. Qué Golazo Pod on Twitter, youtube.com/Qué Golazo. Please share, subscribe, spread the word. Fabrizio Romano, it's weird. It's a Tuesday. It's a little later in the day. Usually I wake my week up with you, but it's a Tuesday. I'll take it. I'll take any time with you, Fabrizio Romano. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. Thank you. Always nice to be together and ready to answer your questions. It feels like transfer market, to be honest. It's March, but it feels like June.
Does it really feel like that? Yeah, it's so much free agency. Fabrizio, you're kind of like in an NBA world, right? It's NBA free agency.
Exactly. This is the revolution of the transfer market, really. So many things happening.
Absolutely. And actually, as we are taping, of course, just a few hours after you made the announcement, of course, of Franck Kessie heading to Barcelona. But before we get into that, Fabrizio, El Clásico, what a game, specifically for Xavi Hernandez. My God. I mean, obviously, we don't think it's going to do too much in terms of La Liga and the title race. We'll see, but it's a statement. The first Clásico win for Barcelona since 2019. Your thoughts, my friend?
My thought is in two words. The first one you already mentioned, and this statement. And the second one is Xavi, because I think these are the two messages from El Clásico. It's a statement because this kind of games, in the Bernabeu with Real Madrid, also two potential new signings and new players for Barcelona, it's like a message. It's like saying, okay, we are definitely back. We have a project. We have an idea. We have the manager we want. We have a new atmosphere in the dressing room. And then this is thanks to Xavi Hernandez. It was only 135 days, and he changed everything into the club, everything. And we have to say it has been fantastic on many points, because on tactical point of view, we saw that Bernabeu, Barcelona were absolutely perfect. The decisions were perfect, the approach, the mentality. Real Madrid were suffering without Karim Benzema, obviously, but for Barcelona was the perfect night. But Xavi Hernandez is helping in many and many things. What we see on Sunday, what we see on Tuesday, when we see on Champions League or Europa League games, is always the result of what the clubs do, the teams do during the training sessions. And I'm told that there, Xavi Hernandez changed everything. The atmosphere in the dressing room, the relationship with the players, the relationship with the board. We still remember Ronald Koeman, how many problems he had with Juan Laporta and with the board of Barcelona. Now they're working all together. Matteo Alemany, Jordi Cruyff, Juan Laporta, Xavi Hernandez. And then this is what the players see every single day. The team is building for the future. The board is preparing something important for the summer, and then they're performing at top level. So congrats to Xavi, because he completely changed Barcelona Football Club.
It's unbelievable. Only one league loss since his arrival. That was to Real Betis. And now look, everything that they're doing. And of course, the statement victory against Real Madrid. Well, the business continues for Barcelona. Fabrizio Romano, Franck Kessie. Verbal agreement. It's all set. Medical done. He is a Barcelona player until June 2026. I mean, let's talk about this. Obviously, he had his options as a free agent, but Barcelona ended up being his destination.
He had 2 or 3 proposals from Premier League, including Aston Villa. So many clubs wanted him.
Yes, don't remind me, Fabrizio.
They were trying to approach the player and his agent for many, many times. But then he wanted to play for Barcelona. It was his dream. And also when Xavi called him, it was the final step for Franck Kessie to say yes to Barcelona. So now everything has been signed between Kessie and Barcelona. So the contract will be till June 2026 for a year deal. The salary will be around 6.5 million euros net per season, plus add-ons. So everything is completed. He already had a medical in Lugano for Barcelona, and so it's just a matter of time to see the announcement at the end of the season. Now, of course, Kessie is busy with AC Milan. They're fighting to win a Scudetto, so of course he wants to keep his focus on AC Milan, but then at the end of the season he will be Barcelona player, and it's a huge one for Barca. Physical player, but a lot of leadership. He was key player for AC Milan last season when they were back to the Champions League, thanks to Franck Kessie. Fantastic performances. This year he's been pretty good, but it's a really interesting one for Barca.
I'm interested, and we're going to stay with Barcelona, everybody. Don't worry. But I'm interested in AC Milan for a second here, Fabrizio, because obviously, they're fighting to win Scudetto. They know that obviously free agency was a major talking point regardless of what was going to go on. And Franck Kessie, I think it seemed that he was destined to leave Serie A and Milano. But how does this affect Milan, do you think? Any replacements lined up? Are they being prepared already?
They are working on it since January, and the name they will love to sign is Renato Sanchez from Lille. At the moment, they're in contact with the agent, with Jorge Mendes. They're already negotiating with him to extend the contract of Rafael Leao, so the relationship is very good. But their top of the list name is Renato Sanchez. Let's see if they will be able to find an agreement with Lille. Many clubs are interested in Renato Sanchez, so it will be an interesting race for him. But the favorite option for AC Milan is Renato to replace Franck Kessie, and in my opinion, another fantastic player. He's one of my favorite midfielders, so it would be really nice to see him in Italy. Of course, they have Tonali and Benacer. They're playing a very good level, but Renato Sanchez would be perfect to replace Franck Kessie.
Yeah, adding a new dimension to AC Milan if Renato Sanchez arrives there. That's quite a good one. All right, let's come back to Barcelona because this is intriguing for me and it doesn't surprise me. I just think regardless of what happens with Leeds United, Rafinha, who's obviously now a member of the national team as well, Brazil already qualified to the World Cup, but Rafinha has, he's got big dreams, big objectives. And with all due respect to Leeds United, I'm sure they are bigger than a team fighting to stay in the Premier League. And Barcelona seems to be interested, Fabrizio Romano. Is that so?
They are interested in Rafinha as a player they're following. Then we know how Barcelona work is always with a long list of names. So it's not the only name in their plans, but it's one of the names they're considering. His agent is Deco, former Barcelona midfielder, who is really close to Juan Laporta. So the relationship is very good. They already had a conversation about Rafinha. Nothing has been agreed yet, but from what I'm told, the player would be happy to join Barca, to play in La Liga. So he's open for this potential move to Barcelona, but there is still nothing between clubs. First of all, because Barca are waiting to see what happens with Leeds situation. In case they would be relegated, there is a clause for Rafinha, a buyout clause around 25 million. So it would be a big opportunity for many clubs. Also, Liverpool are following the situation. What I can tell you is that Chelsea were leading the race for Rafinha. They were pushing and pushing since January, but then because of the ownership situation, now everything is in standby, and so Barcelona are keeping tabs on him, are having contacts with Deco, and so it's an interesting one for Barca, Rafinha.
Hold up a second, Fabrizio. I'm just, I'm a kid from the 90s, right? So I remember those Portuguese teams. Deco is his agent?
Yes. He's his agent. He's an important agent, Deco. He's agent of Tapsoba, center-back of Bayer Leverkusen also. He's agent of Florian Wirtz, super talented boy from Bayer Leverkusen. He had an injury, ACL injury, but he's working as an agent, yes. And he's very successful as he was on the pitch, yes.
Unbelievable. Deco. I mean, I remember those days picking him for FIFA and Football Manager, and now he's an agent. That's incredible. I love it. I
remember Mourinho's fight to have Deco for Inter when he arrived at Inter. He wanted Deco and Carvalho, and they signed Lucio and Wesley Sneijder, but they won everything, so not bad.
I mean, this is a Barcelona player, Porto, Chelsea, of course, Fluminense, Corinthians at the beginning. Unbelievable. Only 44 years old. All right. Well done, Deco. Yes. That's pretty cool. The different career paths of Samuel Eto'o, Deco, and Ronaldinho, right? Very interesting.
Different ways, yes.
I love it. All right. Well, listen, before we move on, and this is a nice little transition, I guess, but, it's obvious that economically Barcelona have had to do a lot in order to, kind of recoup themselves and pick themselves up again. And you mentioned Barcelona are going for big stuff this summer. Is Erling Haaland a big thing that could happen this summer? Is that just too unrealistic?
They hope for it. They did something for it because Xavi is pushing for that one. The board is pushing. They have a great relationship with Mino Raiola, so Juan Laporta in particular, the president of Barcelona, and they're trying to use these factors to try to join the race and have a chance for Erling Haaland deal. But they know that it's really complicated for Barca. So what they did basically is to speak to people close to the player, to tell them that their intention is to try for Erling Haaland to join Barcelona this summer. They will be prepared to pay on salary side. They will be prepared to pay the release clause. But at the same point, they know that their proposal is not the best one financially. And so they know that they're not front runners on this one. But it's up to Erling Haaland. So when I see around people saying about meetings, Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid, or Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, it's not like this. Borussia Dortmund are not even involved in this story. The club that will sign Erling Haaland will tell them, okay, we have an agreement, we're going to pay the clause. But no one is going to meet with Borussia Dortmund to negotiate or to talk. Barcelona, as the other clubs, they will be prepared to pay. But it's up to the player, and they know in Barcelona that they are not front runners because of the financial situation.
Yeah, so it's up to Erling Haaland, but Borussia Dortmund does have to prepare for Erling Haaland's exit. How are they doing that? Of course, with the likes of Gio Reyna, Jude Bellingham. Will they be there as well? How are Dortmund preparing for this?
They are already preparing as always. They work like this in Bundesliga, and Dortmund are very good in this kind of strategies. So they already signed Niklas Süle as centre back. But for the new striker, the name is Karim Adeyemi from Salzburg. This boy is doing very good in Champions League, in Austrian League. So this boy is very, very talented and very good. From what I'm told, they have an agreement with Karim Adeyemi on personal terms on a 5-year deal. So everything is done with the player, but not yet between clubs. So Salzburg and Borussia Dortmund are still negotiating to find a way. Let's see how it goes in the coming weeks for the club negotiations, but the main target will be Adeyemi. They want him as Erling Haaland replacement.
That would be fantastic. Back to Erling Haaland for a second here, Fabrizio. This is something that me and you talk a lot about, and I'm sure obviously as well you talk about it with somebody else, but also Erling Haaland he's not just a ridiculous talent, but he's very smart. He's always been very focused on where he wants to go, right? He's always had big offers, but he chose Salzburg. Then he chose Borussia Dortmund when other teams, respectively bigger teams, at least from a legacy perspective, wanted him. He's always been very careful about his path. So now this next move, I'm thinking that's not going to go away. He's going to think like that, obviously. Man City's a very big club. Real Madrid are a very big club. But I'm wondering, what's Erling Haaland thinking? What factors is the player weighing up, do you think? Wages, sporting project, the manager, the weather, right? What's he thinking, do you think?
No, I will be honest with you. And of course, money are always a factor in football, but not just in football, in general, in life of people. So it's absolutely normal. But from what I'm told, the salary proposals from Manchester City and from Real Madrid are not so far. So it's not a big difference. It's not that one club is offering 15 million per season and the other one 30. So it's not like that. Everything is really close. So about contracts, there is no big difference. What makes the difference is about, as you mentioned, the project. This is the key word. The project means the board, what kind of ideas they have for the coming years. The manager, what kind of project they have with the manager on the system, on the tactical approach for the coming years. What kind of new signings they want to do in the future. So the total plan around the club is not just about money, because everywhere he will go, Erling Haaland will have a fantastic salary. So there is no doubt about it. And he knows about it. He's not stupid. So he's very smart. It's up to him to decide about the best club to perform in the coming years. As you mentioned, he already did it when he wanted to join Salzburg over Juventus, Borussia Dortmund over Manchester United. So he's always been deciding about the project. And this is why his decision is taking long in the coming weeks. We'll have a final answer. Days, weeks, he's going to decide together with his family, together with his father, together with his agent, Mino Raiola. But he wants to be 100% sure the next step. For example, we mentioned Barcelona, but Manchester City, they have Pep Guardiola, is always attracting interest from top players. And also they need a number 9 since more than 1 year. And so for a number 9 like Erling Haaland is attracting. But at the same point, we have Real Madrid. We know what kind of power they have on players because they are Real Madrid. We know that they want to do something big for the new stadium with Kylian Mbappé and Haaland will be the dream of Florentino Perez. So there are many factors. Of course, Madrid as a city, I'm sorry for Manchester fans, but it's completely different from Manchester. So, there are many factors. It's not easy for the player to decide, but the process is ongoing. And so my feeling is in few days, weeks, we will have the final answer.
Yeah, how dare you, Fabrizio Romano? You've never had fish and chips at 3 a.m. in Manchester. Way better than these. There's a lot to consider. And also not just the project, but the personnel within that project, right? Real Madrid, you mentioned Kylian Mbappé, but what the existing players, Karim Benzema is still there, Vinicius Jr., etc. And on the other side, Man City need a number 9 as well. Our producer Des Norris says that David De Gea's wife once compared Manchester to the back of a fridge. Wow. Wow.
Not the best message for Erling, I would say.
I know. Hey, last one. Could Bayern Munich enter the race here?
Let me say that Bayern Munich have a very particular communication as a club. And so they will always say in public, no, we are not in the race for Haaland. We are not interested in Haaland. We can't pay for Haaland, because they know they're not front runners. So they know that front runners are Manchester City and Real Madrid. And so this is why Bayern are always denying. But from what I'm told, they had some approaches with Mino Raiola. They had a meeting with Mino Raiola in February asking about Erling Haaland's situation, because they know that for Lewandowski it will be important to sign a new deal, or there will be a serious possibility for him to leave the club this summer and not in summer 2023. So this is why they are exploring the Haaland situation, but at the moment they know they're not front runners. So, Barcelona and Bayern are not front runners, and so they try to keep it quiet. They try to say, no, we can't pay for it. At the moment, it's really close to being possible. But then behind the scenes, they're trying. They're still trying. But Real Madrid, and in particular Manchester City, they are leading the race.
Interesting. All right. Well, we're going to take a break before, and when we come back, we'll talk about Bayern Munich's Robert Lewandowski, a little bit more of Man City, because they also have other things to worry about. Paulo Dybala leaving Juventus, and some final thoughts. And by the way, everybody, I don't want any angry tweets. When I was an actor, I lived in Manchester, beautiful city. So I don't want any angry Mancunians going at me, okay? I love Manchester, by the way. All right.
Let's me. I said it's up to me. Because I love Madrid. Come on, man.
No, Madrid's ridiculous. But I prefer Barcelona.
I'm going to tell you one thing.
Really
quick one. Remember that Erling Haaland is coming from Norway, and he lived in Salzburg and then in Dortmund.
He wants good weather.
Is close to this kind of city more than to Madrid. So
he wants good weather. Yeah. Well,
or maybe he's most used to cities like Manchester than Madrid. Who knows?
Hey, listen, I'm just saying, in Barcelona, you can take a flight to Menorca and you're there. I'm just, we'll see. We will see. We'll take a break. When we come back, all the things that we just talked about. Qué Golazo, Fabrizio Romano. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Qué Golazo with Fabrizio Romano. Let's move about some other topics, by the way. All this talk is about Erling Haaland, Fabrizio Romano, and all these big players. But Robert Lewandowski, by the way, the future there is interesting. Any developments on his time with Bayern?
Not yet, in the sense that we know the situation between Bayern and Lewandowski is clear. His contract is expiring in June 2023, but at the moment there are still no conversation to extend the contract. Bayern on public side, they say that they want to offer him a new deal. They want to discuss with Lewandowski, but in the reality at the moment there are no talks with his agent Xavi. So let's see in the coming weeks what happens. What I can say again is that Lewandowski wants a new deal to stay at Bayern this summer. If new deal agreement won't be reached, it could be a serious possibility for him to leave this summer. So Lewandowski is one to keep an eye on in the coming weeks.
Interesting. All right. Well, listen, Bayern have been doing some business though, right? Because a certain Ajax player is reportedly maybe nearing in. What's going on there?
Yes, it's Mazraoui, the left back of Ajax. They're working on Mazraoui and on Gravenberch. So we have two names for Bayern in this moment from Ajax. For Mazraoui, they don't need to speak with Ajax because he's free agent. He could be a free agent in a few weeks, and so they are negotiating directly with Mino Raiola. But he has a proposal from Barcelona too, so it's up to the player. Bayern are trying, but Barcelona want him. So Mazraoui is one of the names. And then we know about the other boy we can say in this pick is Ryan Gravenberch, because he's the same agent, Mino Raiola. Bayern had a meeting with him in February. And for Gravenberch, now there is a proposal on the table from Bayern. The proposal is for 15 million euros plus 10 million euros add-ons. So the Bayern are really pushing and trying for Ryan Gravenberch. The point is he's out of contract in June 2023 and he doesn't want to extend the contract with Ajax. This is why the proposal is around only 15 million euros plus add-ons.
Yeah.
From Ajax, they want more than this. They want around 30, 35. So let's see what happens between clubs. But the player would be attracted by Bayern. And so Bayern pushing to sign Gravenberch and trying for Mazraoui, with Barca still leading the race on the Moroccan right back.
Yeah, well, Ajax have to be careful, right? Because if Gravenberch, his contract runs out in 23, you want to make some money. Otherwise, the possibility of free agency, etc., etc. Yes. Back to Man City very quickly. Exploring some options. Fernandinho, obviously not getting any younger. Pep Guardiola wants him to stay, but Fernandinho has to make a decision. Anything there on possible midfield replacements?
Yes, they're looking the market. They look at the market for midfielders. So it will depend. The name will depend on the Erling Haaland deal, because of course the budget is a point for Manchester City. Let's see if they will be able to sign Haaland or not. So this is a key point for Manchester City market in general. But they want to explore the market for midfielders because they know that, as you mentioned, Fernandinho is always a fantastic leader and midfielder, but he's not so young now, and so they need to find solutions for the future. Pep Guardiola wants Fernandinho to stay for one more season, but it's up to the player. He knows this season is about his family too, his personal life, and not just football. So this is why it will be up to him in the coming weeks to give a final answer at the end of the season, not now. But for Man City, midfielder will be one of the topics this summer. And so I'm curious to see who will be the name, but they're already exploring the market and sending their scouts to follow many, many players.
Well, one player who's definitely done with a certain club, and he's not old, only 28 years old still, doesn't turn 29 till November, Paulo Dybala, he's done with Juventus, doesn't want to sign an agreement over an extension. What's the latest on him? And, obviously there could be repercussions here in the current season, I wonder, Fabrizio, because, him not wanting to be at the club and etc., how unhappy, whether it's Max Allegri, the team, or even the Argentinian himself. What's going on there?
Yes, it's a tense situation. It's always been a tense situation between Dybala and Juventus in the
For a
last 2-3
while,
months.
it's been tense,
Yes,
yeah.
it's more than 3 months because what happened? In October, they had a meeting, Dybala's agent, Jorge Antun, and Juventus board. They had an agreement. It was agreed. The new contract of Paulo Dybala was done. So everything was ready to be signed in December. This was the plan. Before Christmas, they had a meeting to sign a contract. Paulo Dybala had an interview end of November saying in public, I'm going to stay here for 5 years more. So everything was done between Dybala and Juventus. 10 million euros net per season was the agreement. Then Juventus in December said, let's discuss in February, let's discuss in March after January transfer window. And Dybala was not happy because it was done. It was just to be signed, and Juventus changed it and rescheduled the meeting to sign the contract. Then they wanted to invest big money on Dusan Vlahovic and Dennis Zakaria in January. So what they did now is to offer no 5 years contract, but 3 years contract, and for less than 8 million euros. So it was around 6.5 instead of 10. And so Paulo Dybala was absolutely not happy with the situation. He turned down the proposal, and Juventus decided not to improve their bid. And so this is why talks have broken down. Everything is collapsed between Juventus and Dybala. He's going to leave the club as free agent. Let's see now what happens, because many clubs could be interested in England, in Spain, in Italy also. There are many rumors about Inter, because Inter director Marotta was at Juventus when they signed Dybala from Palermo in the past. So many options, nothing decided yet. But of course, Dybala will be one of the big free agents on the market with many, many others. But now is 100% sure Dybala will leave Juventus.
What does this say about Juventus, by the way? Because it sounds that it was, Juventus's fault. There was an agreement and then going back and forth. It doesn't look good for a club who's going back on their word.
Yes, they wanted to change the strategy because of two factors. The first one is Dusan Vlahovic. They wanted to spend serious money on Dusan Vlahovic. Yeah. Let's remind that they spent 75 million euros guaranteed, plus 5 million euros add-ons, 8 million euro net per season salary. So it's a big contract, it's a big deal. And so they decided to spend that budget, that Dybala budget, on Vlahovic. And the other point is about the injuries. We have to say that Dybala had many and many injuries, many and many problems in the last 2-3 years. And so this is why Juventus were no longer convinced about this contract. But as you mentioned, everything was agreed in October. So it's not kind of Juventus style to do something like that. But football, we know how it works with free agents. It's always dangerous. When contracts are expiring at the end of the season, everything can change in 5 minutes. This is why we have to be always careful with potential free agents.
I'm telling you something. He is the kind of player that I think with the right club will give so much. And
I agree.
I think depending on where he goes, we will see. Hey, Villa, Jared, get on that call. You never know. All right. Well, listen, final thoughts here, Fabrizio Romano, before we say goodbye. What a great episode. Thank you so much for following Fabrizio Romano on Twitter, Instagram, and Qué Golazo Pod, of course. But final thoughts, my friend. Big game on Thursday. Fabrizio Romano, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling confident for this first game. But honestly, if we get Portugal, and the next round is going to be really, really difficult for Italy. We're a bit worried now because of some COVID cases into the team. It seems there are some COVID cases. So let's see who are the players. Nothing has been confirmed yet while we're speaking, but let's see in the coming hours what happens. You know how important it is for Italy to have some key players like Barella, Immobile, Verratti. We have few top players and many good players, but few top players. So let's see. But for the first game, I'm confident, to be honest. For the second one, if it's going to be Portugal and not Turkey, I'm sure that it's going to be a complicated, tough one for Italy. Let's see.
Good luck, my friend. I wish you the best. And don't forget, you have an Italian playing in South America as well, as Gianluca Lapadula hopes to make some history as well. So we'll see. Hopefully all of us are happy by next week. Fabrizio Romano, always follow his content. Of course, as I mentioned, he also writes for CBS Sports, his weekly column regarding all the latest, including much of what we talked today. Fabrizio, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you as always, and see you in the coming days after this international break week. Thank you.
Hopefully we'll be all happy. All right. Thank you, everybody. Qué Golazo Pod on Twitter, youtube.com/Qué Golazo CBS Sports and your CBS Sports app. Much more to come from QG. Have a great rest of your week. Till then.